you're bringing back the what you yourself would call foul-mouthlessness.
Yes.
There's a lot of effing.
Yeah.
A lot of effing went on last night.
Yes.
Do you think that defined the way that you attack humour, that you approach it, that you deliver it?
Absolutely. There's absolutely no question at all. That anecdotal style I have is a pub style. The Friday night sort of style of ludicrous storytelling and lying and bragging. That loud, it gets up to such a pitch. And the swearing that I do, I've got into this habit of that kind of swearing that I did when I was young and then stopped when I was a folk singer, but it's back again. And it's a rhythmic thing. And I've tried to drop it, and the stuff doesn't feel the same. It feels more pretentious when I drop it than when I do it. And so I'm just going to let it ease out the way it eased in, you know. I just don't think about it anymore. But it has a certain rhythm, the swearing, when you swear properly.
Well, there's an oral tradition in Scotland and Ireland which is about aggressive humour, where you try to provoke, you try to wound, but you try to make it funny. And it's called flighting, in fact, in Scotland. And Billy's quite brilliant at that. There's also a streak of surrealism, I think, that you get in an oral culture like the Celtic culture.
His humour has, almost by definition, got to have that kind of intellectual depth. That kind of experience of going through life and saying, isn't that funny, isn't that peculiar, look at that, that's rather absurd. That's a liberty.
Was there a time when you thought, I can be funny, I can make people laugh, and did that set you off on anything, do you think?
Yeah, I remember the very moment. It was, I was a child, I'd be about, let me see, I was I can see myself in the playground, so I must have been 7, about 7 or 8. And I was sitting in a puddle, and people were laughing. I had fallen in it, but they found it very funny, and it wasn't all that uncomfortable. And so I stayed till longer than I would normally sitting in a puddle, and because I really enjoyed the laughing. I thought it was great. Because my life was a wee bit unhappy at the time. Well, it was a big bit unhappy. And laughter wasn't something I heard all the time, so I couldn't believe it. It was a joy, and I realised very quickly that if you could have an audience with this funny way, life was rather pleasant. My daft auntie had a fixation about eye gouging. I'm sure most mothers have. Will you put that down? You'll have somebody's eye out with that. What, a toothbrush? Look, are you going to eat that toast or wave it in the air? You'll have somebody's fucking eye out with that.
You give the hand hell in your act, don't you?
Recently I've been giving her some serious treatment.
Yeah, serious hell. I mean, she beat you up, she walloped you with a wet tea towel.
And she started to hit me in rhythm. Women always go for the rhythm method. Men, it's another difference between men and women, you see. Men will tell you a couple of times not to do a thing, and then they'll lose patience and go for you. And it's like being hit by a building. It's like having a Volkswagen dropped on you. You know, your father would do that. He'd kick, punch, bite, elbow, and gouge your eye all at once. Don't you fucking have to make a... So, I would say, and you knew it was coming when sentences and words would start to fragment. You'd say, get down off that wall, I won't tell you again. What did I tell you? Get down. For Christ, if I have dipped you. You fuck, Jesus Christ, oh, for Christ, if I had the fuck up, go! Oh, come here! What the fuck was that? You'd have been run over by a herd of cattle. And that was it, finished. But women, they hit you in the rhythm of the argument. Don't you ever let me see you doing that again. Usually Well, there's two real haymakers to start. Don't you ever let me see you. As far as I'm concerned, that's you and me finished.
But even allowing for exaggeration, and even allowing for the general acceptance of violence at the time, like delegating to be hit, you know.
Yeah.
He's done something wrong, will you hit him? That sort of thing. That's all that. And men hitting boys all over the place and thinking nothing of it, because
Yes.
they had been hit in their turn.
Yes. You go to a football match, and the person in front of you is messing around and he's younger. You hit his ear.
That's right.
Move along there. You know, and and it goes on and on and on.
And does you no harm at all. Now, were there any, look, you're giving her a rough ride, but she did, you know, she did take you on. She did.
She did. It was a
presumably attempt to bring you and your sister up, which you can't. What did she have going for her? It can't have been easy for her, can it?
No, it was very, very big of her to take on the responsibility. But having said that, I wish people wouldn't do that. I wish they wouldn't be very big for 5 minutes and rotten for 20 years. You know, just keep you big and keep you rotten and get out of my life. Because quite frankly, I would rather have gone to a children's home and be with a lot of other kids being treated the same. Because to this day, I'm still working on the stuff that she did to me, you know. From some recess in my brain, some long, dark corner. I don't know where I got it. I must have heard it on the radio. I heard it coming out of my mouth. Leave me alone! Leave me alone, you fucking psychopath! And I shot under a bed. Psychopath! Psycho-bloody-path! I'll give you psychopath! I'll psychopath you, my boy!
Do you find it now talking about it as a relief?
Yes, I do. There's other stuff that disturbs me greatly about my childhood too, but you know, maybe in later life I'll get around to talking about them, or writing about them or something. But I thought on my father's death, which is about 3 years ago, that all of that would just disappear like snow off a roof, and it didn't. None of those irritants disappeared. They got worse, they accelerated and began to dominate everything I did. And I found that by talking about them, I read a great deal about it. And then I read a Californian fellow called John Bradshaw,